crybaby clown really is.
Baylor Hotner?
That's Reitner. Actor, humanitarian, guy with amazingly super awesome abs. I came here to Crystal Cove to research the part of a crazed clown for my upcoming blockbuster movie, The Night the Clown Cried. It was gonna be my Oscar. Using my knowledge of Hollywood makeup and effects, and a trick buggy I stole from the back lot, I honed my crazed clown performance to perfection. Then, I built my entourage, a therapist, a hairdresser, a plastic surgeon, and a publicist. Everything I needed to be a great actor. Of course, I put tracking chips in all of them because you have to know where your posse is at all times. I even had an innocent small-town girl that would make me look like the nicest guy. I had it all, and I would have been the world's greatest Hollywood thespian too, if it hadn't been for you small-town scene stealers.
Small-town that, Baylor Hotner. These are my friends. Take him away, Sheriff.
I did it! I did it! I'm the Dreamweaver! Busted! How did you know?
In all the dreams, the Dreamweaver held his orb in his left hand. But when we looked at everybody else, guess what? They're all righties. You're the only lefty in the bunch. This type of light bulb is used to stimulate REM sleep. You use them to create this, a dream machine, which allowed you to project yourself into another person's dreams and manipulate them.
It cost you millions of dollars, which you loaned yourself from your own bank. Then you drove your car into your bank, blowing it up to cover your tracks.
Like the only thing we don't know is why. It was all your fault. Huh? Orbit, the Dreamweaver raises his orb, ready to cast his smiting spell. Make a saving throw. Woohoo! The Dreamweaver laughs as he casts your broken, lifeless elven body into the eternal abyss. I love that elf. I loved him more than my own children. And you took him away from me. You were all part of it. So I vowed to take away the things you all loved. And I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you role-playing nerds. We did.
Fred, is that Brad Childs and Judy Reeves?
Mom? Dad?
That's right, Fred.
We're your parents.
And we're back.
It all started back when I was a sailor working the trade boats in Indonesia. I learned you could train a monkey to steal. So that's just what I did. I trained Roberto using bells and used him to build up my fortune. When I rang a bell, he would start taking valuable objects. But he became bell crazy. Started stealing bells too. It drove me insane. All of those bells. And then he not only brought home the bells, but whatever would attach to them. You don't know how many cats and cows and hunchbacks he brought home with him. But it was all worth it, as we were just about to steal the 500-year-old cheese you have in your hand.
500-year-old cheese?
Yes, it was made right here in Crystal Cove by a master Spanish cheesemaker. It's priceless. And with its theft, I could have finally retired to the Netherlands, where they really enjoy cheese properly.
All I ever wanted to do was play polkas in a Bavarian oompa band. A beautiful dream that I lived until I came to work for you, Randy Warsaw. You changed me. You transformed me, molded me into a dark band leader, playing and singing horrible intellectual music. You took everything from me, and I wanted to make you pay. Pay! And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling polka haters. Oh, and your singing stinks. Nobody understands a word you're saying.
Vallo.
Well, what do you know? He really was the most obvious suspect. Who would have guessed?
Ivalo was stealing natural gas from the Crystal Cove Gas Company.
Yes, that is right. I did it. I, Count Ivalo von Meanskrieg, developed a perfectly evil plan and used my position
as gravedigger to cover my activities. But the crowds from the mayor's movie night meant someone might notice what I was up to. I had to scare them off. Thus, my genius evil plan of the graveyard pool was born. Unfortunately, the flame-broiling grill was incredibly dangerous so close to my gas lines. I had to stop it. Which led to my capture. Sadly, I, the evil Count Ivolo von Meanskrieg, would have gotten away with it too. If it wasn't for the sheriff and his American-style barbecue.
Oh, Thelma. Why would you... Wait. Of course. Mr. E, you're still working for him. But you couldn't outwit the captain's traps without Fred. That's right. So humiliating to have to rely on a guy. I repurposed my old Manticore outfit and super helium technology to create the Dark Lilith disguise. Then I lured Gary and Ethan here by falsely telling them professional soccer players worked their calf muscles on Mount Diablo. I knew Fred would talk you guys into investigating what happened to them. Then Fred could spring the traps, and I could get the piece. But you're a hard girl to fool, V. I'm glad you recognized me. Me too. So, how's this gonna end? Here. Friendship should always come first, and, well, you're the only friend I've ever had. What about Mr. E? He'll hunt you down and destroy you. He'll have to catch me first. See you around, Thelma Dinkley.
Ethan.
Oh, how did you know? Yeah, we were like totally sneaky.
Not so totally, I'm afraid. The odd indentations in Hebediagram's footprints turned out to be soccer cleat marks. Gary's chat video was pre-recorded. I hacked your laptop and found the original recordings.
2 missing costumes meant there could be 2 Hebediagrams.
But like, worst of all, you guys tried to frame Dougal McGinnis by putting a yearbook on his porch. Ethan's yearbook!
So judge that, you losers. Judge me now, huh? Who? You want to judge me? You? In your face. Yeah!
Thelma, you're scaring me.
The real question is why? Why did you guys do it?
Girls. Duh. We wanted to terrify girls and then rescue them so they'd fall for us. Just like the knights did in the Old West before the dragons went away.
Yeah, knights terrorize and save damsels to score dates with them all the time.
Huh. Never thought about it that way.
But why did you both dress up?
We don't trust each other. Tag teaming was the only option.
And we would have gotten away with it if any of you mystery stink losers had lives.
Sheriff Stone? Oh, that was fast. How'd you two know we'd solved the mystery? Like, were you on another stakeout?
Yes, exactly. Another stakeout. Mm-hmm.
So why are you wearing his hat?
Well, it's a disguise. Let's get out of here.
It's this place. I can't take it. I've been here since I was born. My family has been caretakers of the Burlington Mansion and then the Burlington Library for generations. I was born here, been here every day of my life. All alone up here on this mountain tending this darn library. But it always seemed to be snowing and I could never get warm. Never. I hate the cold. I hate the snow. But the library could never be closed. I never got a vacation. Not one. Found out about the Terrorwood when I accidentally burned some. So I decided to use it to scare away anyone and everyone that came here. So eventually no one would come anymore. And I could close the place forever and go someplace warm. And I would have done it too. Been somewhere warm by now. If it wasn't for you meddling snowbound brats. I don't mind going to prison. Not one bit. At least I'll finally be someplace warm.
You know, Dong Fong here was only trying to warn you. Throwing meat is a sign of warning in his unspecified culture. Luckily, I'm fluent in all unspecified languages, and I understood. And we fell in love. And I love you too, honey.
Dean Fink, what's going to happen to the library?
Nothing. I'm not changing a thing. I love this library as is. It's my great honor to preserve it for posterity under the protection of Darrow University.
That's odd. There's no one left inside that could have done that.
Do you recognize it, Dean Fink?
Yes, I do. It's an ancient tome on alchemy by Bartolomeo Magnus, Alchemaic Magister to Holy Roman Emperor King Charles V.
Wait a second. Bartolomeo Magnus created the planispheric disc.
The planispheric disc?
And if I'm not mistaken, this book is a 500-year-old user's manual.
Huh?
The Darrow family, a.k.a. the Mystery Fellowship. It's all happened before, Velma. Now what you gotta do is figure out why.
Exactly right, Mystery Incorporated.
Professor Pericles!
Ah, lovely. I see you have met what's left of Frau Gluck. I met Frau Gluck in Bavaria in the 1930s. She discovered the missionaries possessed the fifth and the sixth pieces of the planispheric disc. She built this lab and a host of robots to aid her search for the pieces. I finally found this lab and continued the Frau's work, building a legion of her Kriegsstaffer bots to retrieve the pieces for me. My holographic masquerade as Frau Gluck bought my bots all the time they needed. And I would have gotten away with eliminating Cassidy if it weren't for you meddling kids.
I purchased a bottle of Gentle Rainflower body wash for men. A heavenly scent designed to bring the ladies running. What I didn't know was that the company Muskie Farms is a division of Destroido, and that there's a side effect. When I contacted Destroido about their product turning me into a hairy, bare man, the company acted as if what had happened to me was nothing and tried to pay me off. Destroido ruined my life, so I was determined to find evidence that their body wash was toxic. I got the job as head of security and created the Scare Bear suit out of taxidermied bear parts. I'm particularly proud of the claws, which I purchased from a school for gifted children. I discovered that Gentle Rainflower was originally marketed as a lawn-growth fertilizer that was so toxic it destroyed an entire town. They didn't even change the formula. I was in the process of uploading the incriminating files to my website when you kids broke into my lab. My plan was to finally expose Destroido tonight at their own charity ball. I wanted to show the entire world what they had done, and I would have gotten away with it too, if it wasn't for you meddling, mutant, animal-hating kids.
Gee, I feel kind of bad that we got in the way. Destroido deserves to be exposed.
You're watching this. You're probably wondering what's happened to your pieces of the planispheric disc. In a word, you've been scammed, conned, bamboozled.
That's 3 words, Fred, but I think they get the idea. We did this to you.
Yeah.
And we will be more than happy to tell you how we did it.
It was all an elaborate plan masterminded by your very own Freddy.
We created Krampus by borrowing Charlie the haunted robot and dressing him up in clothes we bought off German gypsies who live in Crystal Gold's haunted forest.
As for Krampus moving around, he was being remote controlled by Jason Wyatt, who agreed to help for lenience from the mayor on his mother's sentence.
Like Jason also helped create an invisible aerosol that was used to turn hair white and make it grow long for added effect.
We needed to keep you away from the vault. You following us, following Krampus, was the perfect way to keep you distracted so we could carry out our master plan, breaking into Mr. E's vault.
Freddy planted a bug on Brad Child's clothing so that we could get the code to the vault.
And once we had that code,
We could give it to our operative. Someone with intimate knowledge of Mr. E's lair. hot dog water.
Hot dog water?
I still know how to get in touch with her.
Like when Velma told Hot Dog Water what we had planned, HDW was in.
And well, we stole the real pieces.
You were stealing fake ones.
The real pieces were instead safely hidden with the one person no one would ever suspect. Fred's fake father, the ex-Mayor Jones.
My not really my dad may have betrayed us once to get the disc pieces, but when he heard what we were planning, he was more than glad to help us take you down.
And like Mary Ann Gliarden also agreed to help us after the current mayor offered her lenience on her sentence.
She really wants to go back to the 7th grade.
I guess I secretly hoped you guys might not try to steal the pieces from us, but I guess I always knew you would. Which leaves me with only one thing left to say. Real mom, real dad, don't expect me home for dinner. Ever.
And we're taking Nova with us, too. You don't deserve it.
Oh, let's see what it looks like. The whole planispheric disk.
Whoa.
It's beautiful.
We have the whole thing. That leaves only one question.
What do we do now?
You were once an ordinary but beloved security dog, until tragedy struck.
Bradley, I was able to replace most of Reggie's damaged body parts with robotic replacements. Now, for the tricky part, the heart.
But doctor, are you telling me you're going to power this dog with the most powerful generator on the planet?
He's a living thing, Race, and deserves no less.
My greatest creation, the Dragon Battle Suit. So precious was this invention, I trusted only one person to test it. My own daughter. The accident fused the suit to Jenny and has been feeding off of her life force ever since. How did you know?
The dragon registered a heat signature on Mr. E's scanners.
But why the obsession with Dynamite?
Not the dog, the Quest X inside. With that to power the dragon suit, my Jenny would survive. But now, I had no idea.
Oh my goodness gracious, why didn't you say so? Never too busy to help a fellow cyborg with a jump start.
Orange avocados.
That's oh, forget it. That's right. It is me.
Yes, finally! I knew you'd be the villain eventually.
All right, you got me. And I suppose you're wondering, after so many prior Mr. X, why now?
Actually, no, not really. We kind of always knew you were evil.
Okay, fine. Then my tale should not surprise. It all began after I failed in politics. I had no choice but to go into the family business, farming avocados. Everything was going so well until you mystery brats blew up my crops. I then tried my hand at fortune-telling. But when that endeavor failed, I fell back on the avocados legacy of stealing other people's things. I located the avocados diamond, stolen by my father. Turns out it actually was disguised as a doorknob, not on a door in Crystal Cove, but on a door at the Burlington Library. When I found out it was among the artifacts sent here for the production, I took a job as a janitor. I needed everyone to stay clear of the basement to give me time to look. I hid the body of Friar Sarah in a closet and assumed his identity. Knowing this town's gullibility, I knew a ghost story would give me room to hunt. And I would have succeeded, too, if it weren't for Vincent Van Gogh.
What?
So the brown residue that was left behind?
That's right. Guacamole. Now, I want my diamond.
Please, nobody ever pays attention to those. What is this? The Old West?
Were that it were, boyo, then perhaps we could have earned an honest living. When I was a wee lad, we couldn't even afford peat for our fire. So I had to lift it. It turned out I was a right good thief. But then I discovered there were things I could steal other than coal. And wouldn't you know it, my kids had an aptitude for the family business as well. We started getting a reputation for our business, and there were our faces splashed all over the universe. Aye, 'twas then we got the idea for the costumes, because who'd ever say they saw an outer space creature stealing a flat-screen television set? I found out about the Blakes perch in the Pangea. Seemed like it was right up our alley. And we'd have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you footprint snappers.
The librarian?
Like, seriously? But you're not even British.
I'm so confused. Why?
It's simple, really. You spend a life reading about other people's exciting adventures and never, never, never have one of your own. It's awful. I'm so lonely.
Jinkies? How did I miss that one?
I never really had any friends growing up. All I had were my books. For years, I stayed in my room and read about incredible adventures, other people's adventures. Then, I got an idea. I was going to become the dandy highwayman. I was going to be the king of adventures and adored by women everywhere. I studied how to do an English accent. I incorporated a motorcycle helmet into my costume's hat and practiced my motorcycle skills for hours and hours. Then I discovered something unimaginable. The key to a woman's total admiration and devotion. All you have to do is pay attention to them when they're talking. Crazy, isn't it? It wasn't until I started to moderate the book club that I learned how to listen. From there, I actually became interested in what women had to say. Before long, I was fully engaged in their desires and feelings. I was living the dream.
And I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling romance killers.
Scooby-Doo, your time has come. She is here.
Nova? I am not Nova. I have only borrowed her body so that I may bring you an urgent message. Scooby-Doo, your life is in danger. I am of the Anunnaki, interdimensional beings that visit the planet Earth every few thousand years. We arrive at a time called Nibiru, when the barriers between our worlds grow weak. The Anunnaki have a great history of helping humans, but we have no physical form and must inhabit animals. This is why some animals, our descendants, can talk and others cannot. But not all Anunnaki are kind and good. There are evil ones, and the most evil one of all is imprisoned beneath Crystal Cove and must not be set free. You must undo it, Scooby-Doo. Undo it all. Save yourself. Save your friends. Save the world.
You're one of the most heartless criminals Mystery Inc. has ever faced. Aren't you, Dad?
Ow! It's not a mask, you imbecile. I had plastic surgery to look like you. You would have spotted a mask too quickly.
I don't know what you think you were doing. You're supposed to be my father. But how could you try to impersonate me when you know absolutely nothing about me?
If he's Brad, that makes you Fred's sneaky criminal mom, Judy.
Ouch! Watch it. I had plastic surgery too.
I know.
The treasure. What else? It was the genius mind of Professor Pericles that thought up the whole plan, wasn't it, Judy?
That's right, Brad. While we went under the knife, Professor Pericles had Mr. E arrange for the Crystal Cove studio to be changed into an exact replica of the town.
Except more end of the world-ish, obviously.
I hate to be the one to point this out, but that's just crazy. Come on, Scooby. We have to keep going.
Mom, Dad, be honest. Are you sure you two have never touched a trap in your entire lives?
Traps? Fred, you know we're both
obstetricians. We bring babies into the world.
Happy babies, Judy.
Thank you, Brad. Happy babies.
But that still doesn't explain why you're here, Mom and Dad.
Oh, simple, dear.
We're planning your wedding.
Our wedding?
Why, Princess, you're almost 18. High time you tied the knot.
I only wish we could find more perfect specimens of manhood like Fred for your underachieving sisters.
Huh?
Don't be silly, Norval. We're so proud. Our son, president of the Chef's Club, winner of the Ultimate Teen Chef Award, and you won the National Junior Epicurean of the Year Award 3 times in a row.
But I'm like a slacker. I don't buy that story for a second.
Sandy, look. Here at Creation X, we've been blessed with inventing clean, sustainable fusion-based energy.
Now, my beautiful husband and I want to pass that blessing on to you by radically reducing our prices.
Creation X makes life better for everyone.
Please, Marcy, please, tell me what's going on.
V, this is no time for fooling around. We're preparing for this year's Tri-State Olympiad of Science, which we have always won.
Schrodinger's cat.
Huh? Our event is about mineral erosion. What's the many worlds interpretation of quantum physics have to do with it?
Everything! I gotta tell the gang.
That's my girl.
Actuality of wave function collapse, alternative histories and futures are real. I know why everything's different. We destroyed the entity, and by destroying it, it was as if it never existed. So everything it touched, all the evil, all of the curse, all of the losers in rubber masks and the dumb monster attractions, none of it ever happened. By destroying the evil entity, we created an entirely different timeline.
Our neighbors, our families, they've never been negatively influenced by the evil entity.
It's come undone. All of it. Our actions created a better world where we all have normal and productive lives.
Lives that really aren't ours.
Worse than that, gang. We've created a world without mysteries.
What kind of a world doesn't have mysteries?
A world where we don't belong.
What do we do now?
Well, I just got this disc from Miskatonic University. Might as well see what it is.
Harlan Ellison here. You can call me Mr. E. I know who you kids are, and I know that you created an alternate timeline by destroying that evil entity. How do I know this? How, you ask in your purblind ignorance?
It's obvious as antlers on a chihuahua. I'm a genius.
All my years of writing speculative fiction has hypertuned my psychic mnemonic connection with alternate dimensions. That's why I'm able to remember every timeline ever created. And believe me, this has happened before. But you kids have slipped the time stream with me. Very rare. You're very strange.
That's why I sent you this message. I've taken up residence as professor of subnuclear sciences at Miskatonic University. I want you in my class next semester. I've already got you all admitted.
Even that weird dog. There's a lot of meddling to do, and a lot of mysteries out there that need solving. Don't miss it.
Hold the phone.
Jeepers. Jinkies.
Zoinks.
Miskatonic University? Amazing! Thank you, Scooby-Doo. You are the bravest dog that ever lived.